map. Yeah, there were some great highs and lows for both of these teams. You had Zorbo coming back in and really being strong, but not quite enough in the end there. You had a Kimbo popping off the entire series. Kings Row was an outstanding map. I enjoyed watching this match as much as the next guy, and I'm really excited to see what these two teams can do moving forward for the remainder of the season.
Thoroughly enjoyed that match, but we are not done yet here, my friends. We are going to head to the expert division where we have, where are my notes? We have Bespin taking on Chickadees in the expert division. Both of those, well, Chickadees a 5-2 team. We don't know a whole lot about Bespin, but I am looking forward to this match just as much. I hope to see all of you friendly faces there when we return with some more Get Good Championship. back, my friends. It's season 5 of the Get Good Championship. We just came out of a thriller of a 5-map set in the intermediate division where SM Lunatics able to take it in the end against Tidal Wave. But now we are headed to the expert division, GMSR, the best of the best we have to offer here in the Get Good Championship, where we have Bespin taken on the Chickadees.
Yeah, and we're going to start this match off very similar to how we started off the intermediate division. Both teams will be going to Lijiang Tower, which is, in my opinion, one of the best designed maps in the game. Very, very prominent micro metas in this particular map. Each map shows us a different meta. The control center has the brawl style with the Ryan Zarya, sometimes the Ryan Orisa, sometimes even a Ryan Diva. Typically used with a May. And then we have the Symmetra strat with the double shield on Night Market that gets shown a lot. And on top it all off, we usually see Dive on Garden. So a lot of variation going into this match with the best of the best that we have to offer. I'm really excited to get this one underway.
I am so excited. I am so excited. And you have to have proficiency in all of the different metas to really excel at this SR, to excel at this level. You can't come in with a one-trick comp, so you can't just excel at one thing and expect to win Lijiang Tower. Got to show off versatility here, and well, I'm looking forward to it. Bespin guard coming out. They're gonna have Levi and Icicle in the DPS slot. We're going to have Evil Toaster encourage your starting tanks with Frogman, and he can do it. Will be your support lineup here for Bespin guard.
Yeah, and we look at the lineup for Chickadees. We have Tempt and Chaotic, really, really solid players coming out here. We have Skirt and Jazz on the tank line, and Patback and Beef on the support line. A lot of really good players here. A lot of really interesting strategies that we can see them pull out. Both these teams have very varying hero pools they like to pull out. Both these teams seem to lean towards dive in their hero pools, but especially Levi and Icicle that you mentioned are both very proficient at spam characters. So double shield, excuse me, double shield could be a very, very big advantage for Bespin guard moving forward in this series. Just something to think about in the back of your heads as we get this map underway here. Really excited here. These maps do have their like specific metas that can be run, but I would say even on the maps that have like their specific metas, like the sim strat or the dive strats, you can get away with a lot of different things, and especially gardens. Sure. I think both spam, dive, and like brawl can have their place here as long as you play it right.
Oh, gardens just has a little bit of everything. I mean, you could bring out the pharmacy if you so like. Wrecking Ball could be very powerful, yes, as there's a lot of different angles you can come in to create the disruption and escape and really just stay consistently in the fight and providing so much value on the ball. There's a lot of different strats. And of course, dive. I mean, dive never hurts my feelings. It's just so fun to watch. I feel like I learn something every time and you know, always have a blast watching some dives. So, you know, that would not hurt my feelings. And then, you know, the Echo, you mentioned something in our last match of that you don't think Echo is as strong as is currently perceived in the Overwatch universe. What did you mean by that, Misfit?
I think that on release, she was a very powerful character. I think the big thing that made her super powerful is the fact that if you hit every stickies, it was a guaranteed kill. And that was such a powerful ability. The ability on a character to have that one-shot potential. We think of characters like snipers, like Widowmaker and Hanzo. Double sniper is very oppressive because if you peek for just a second and those snipers are ready for it, you're dead, right? So having that one-shot potential could be really, really powerful. But now that she can't really do that, she still has that combo with the focusing beam to take something out. But with I feel being such a prominent thing in this meta, I don't really see her being as good as the Tracer. The Tracer can get in and out of fights much cleaner than the Echo can. Of course, those 3 blinks and the recall compared to the 1 cooldown that allows mobility for Echo. Of course, Echo's ult is extremely powerful, and I do think she has a place in the meta, but I don't think she's that overpowered must-pick character that she was made out to be. And I would only expect her to see the big prominence in the dive compositions, where she'll get the most value. I would expect to see Torb and Tracer be run over the Echo for the most part in this match. Of course, these teams might have very god-tier Echo players. I don't know. None of them listed Echo as their favorite character, but of course, they must have it in their back pocket if they're going to play at such a high rank. So I'm very excited to see what these two teams will end up running here.
And of course, Echo recently took a little bit of a nerf as one of her strongest, if not her strongest cooldown, that focusing beam. Well, it got its distance reduced from what is it, 20 to 16 meters, if I'm
Yes,
remembering
that's correct.
correctly. And that you're taking nearly 25% off that range. I
Yeah.
think really hindered that character more than it might look like on paper.
No, I absolutely agree with that. I am a flex DPS myself, and I picked up Echo for my own scrim team. And I have to say, I have been really feeling that nerf. It feels like everyone's just a little bit outside my range now,
Yeah.
and it's something that I've taken a lot of time trying to get used to. But it gets hard, right? Like you think of all these little situations on times where if I want to secure the kill, I have to drop out of my position. I have to get off the high ground if I really want to get that kill, and it forces me to use that flight cooldown when I don't necessarily want to. And those are just little things, but they have the potential to build, right? Tracer is still the consistent character she was on the last patch. I would say the more consistent damage output, you don't have to rely on all your cooldowns coming together to get all your damage in. Of course,
Right.
Echo, I still think Focusing Beam is an outstanding ability. It is detrimental to shields, to tanks. It can melt squishies if they're low enough health. It can be a really like fight-changing ability if used correctly. So I still think Echo is very good.
Well, I mean, two of my favorite heroes that we're talking about right there, and I mean, I just absolutely love watching some Killer Tracer play. Love watching some fantastic Echo play and the creativity that comes in with her ultimate. But we'll see what these two teams choose to come out with here. As it looks like we are going to start on Control Center for our opening round as we get into this Expert Division matchup.
Yeah, and May has been good here since as far back as I can remember. The choke by the first choke at each person's spawn door can be really, really good to hold with the May wall. It's the perfect length across to zone off a team as they come in and isolate a tank or a squishy and just really pounce on them. We have seen more Doom Reaper get run here in some of the lower divisions, as Doom Reaper can be played here, can get a lot of value here. It looks like we'll be opting for some interesting strategies. I would expect both of these Symmetras to switch onto the Reaper. Some strat that became very prominent during the Doom Reaper double shield meta is that the Reapers would sim teleport their team out of spawn to give them a positional advantage, and then switch to Reaper immediately and teleport themselves out of spawn, so they would still be like with their team. And I would expect to see that on both sides, which means that we will be getting a brawl versus spam comp here. Very, very interesting match. I'm excited to see how these two teams play it.
Absolutely. And the Brig on the side for Chickadees here. Whoa. Bespin picking up the early advantage positionally, taken up on White Room. Evil Toaster taking a lot of damage and is going to fall early. Skirt finding that kill with no Reinhardt. Bespin going to find it very difficult to maintain here in this fight. And it will be the Chickadees getting first control here in Lijiang Tower.
Something that is really strong about this like spam composition, this double shield composition, is the tank line has so much damage it can output. Orisa may not seem like she gets that much damage, but if she hits all those headshots on you, that's a lot of damage really, really quick. And the Sigma, of course, is one of the highest damage output characters in the tank category. Very, very solid character.
Icicle making his presence known immediately. Look at that! Riptire already online, and here comes the Riptire right out of the gate. That's going to find two big play coming from the Junkrat. Coalescence thrown into the mix as well. And Bespin striking right back as they're going to flip this point.
Yeah, the Junkrat isn't something we usually see here, but I gotta admit, I kind of like the style of Icicle there. Able to build his ult very, very quickly, able to come into that fight with the Riptire, make the play he needs to make here. We typically see Junkrat in spam and not as much in Brawl, but I suppose you can make it work, and Icicle doing just that, and really giving his team the advantage here moving forward.
Already a very atypical round of Control Center we're seeing here between these two teams. Bob coming out from Chickadees as they look to push back onto the point. Jazz with the Gravitic Flux next to throw into the mix. That's going to lift Rita in the air. Bubbles able to keep Ever Toaster standing, but the two supports not so lucky. Supercharger coming in from Chickadees just to help seal the deal. And after a bit of cleanup here, Evil Toaster going down. Chickadees will flip this point.
Yeah, and Frogman was just inches away from his Soundberry that would have allowed them to survive that flux. You gotta expect that Jazz and Skirt knew that and were able to capitalize on that, able to throw the flux out there early, capitalize on it, and now they have given the point back to their team here, and really given themselves a good advantage moving forward here. Of course, we look at the ult economy for the enemy, and there's a lot of Qs on their side.
Coalescence the first to be used from Bespin. Graviton Surge is next. Graviton Surge finds 3, but there's the Immortality Field. Levi takes down the Immortality Field and Icicle, throwing that spam damage in, taking Jazz out of the mix. Levi dropping his Death Blossom down to put the nail in the coffin. And now Bespin flipping this thing right back over. What a back and forth here.
Yeah, none of these two teams seem to be able to play defense on this point, that's for sure, as none of them have won a fight as defending this point yet. We're seeing an absolute slugfest come out here. Both teams really showing what they can do pushing into this, and I'm really liking it.
Amp Matrix coming up from Chickadees, but here comes the tire from Icicle. Bespin trying to shut this down before Chickadees can even get started. That's going to find Tempt, but Tracer going to get back in this battle pretty quickly. So you'll take that trade, but here comes the Earth Shatter. Icicle throwing more damage in to help follow up on it. And, well, now 70% and counting on the board. Bespin in full control.
Yeah, and this is what I wanted to see them do before, is push this choke and really find the value. They weren't able to do it because of how many people they lost in their first point cap of the, the first time they capped the point. And now they're in a really good spot here. Both Portals Online and the Graviton Surge, everything they need to win this fight in their favor here.
Both Coalescence and Graviton Surge coming out early. Immortality Field thrown in a perfect spot from Pat back, but Courage somehow able to get it around the corner. Kills coming through. Sound barrier used for Bespin, and they will start this thing off with a 1-0 lead. There is the Gong of Death. Objective secured.
Yeah, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. Both teams have these playmakers. Both teams know what they're doing and are really making good use of it. Unfortunately, it doesn't go the way that I believe Chickadees would want it to. Of course, you always want to win every point, but they need to buckle down, stick to their guns, take their heads up, and come back strong on this next point. I would expect to see only Symmetra here, as it has become the definitive meta. Just being able to teleport to point instantly and have that space, be on point, and act like you're defending it right away is so powerful. And both teams will have slight variations of it, as Icicle will stay on that Junkrat, while Chaotic will opt for the Mei, which is the more traditional pick here. We'll have to see which one of them actually finds the value necessary to secure this first fight.
Oh, I like Icicle's choice here with the Rat. Simultaneous teleporters come in simultaneously, both teams onto the objective, and indeed, Icicle takes out the Mei right away. The Ice Queen, well, fallen to, well, her namesake there, as Icicle finds himself 3 kills in that endeavor. Bespin, they're going to get control started for his first here.
Yeah, and the Rat takes out the Ice Queen there. Very interesting turn of events here, as we will see the Mei Reaper switch onto the side of Chickadees. Probably will help them out just a little bit here, but I still think the Sim Junkrat has so much damage advantage in this fight.
They're showing it off as Jazz goes down right out of the gate. The Immortality Field a touch late from Beef. It is able to keep Skirt alive for the meantime, but no! Immortality Field goes down, so does Skirt, Tempt, and the rest of the Chickadees team.
Yeah, the tanks of Chickadees are being forced to use their abilities very carefully if they want to mitigate the amount of damage coming at them right now. Of course, we talk about the Sim and the Jugger, but you still have the BAP and the Orisa there, like, reinforcing that damage. And now a lot of ultimates on the side of the defense. This is looking very bad for the attackers here.
And I could see that Mei being very strong if they had won the original conflict, but losing that first engagement, suddenly the Mei struggling to retake here. Riptire coming out from Icicle, finds 3! That's a big Riptire. Icicle, man, he just seems to be in full control at this point, coming up with a 4K before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I don't know who allowed Jake Overwatch on an ult account to play in GGNA. He's really, this guy's smurfing, basically. That's not fair.
Smurfing and GM, that's what...
You didn't know it existed until just now, folks.
Yeah, exactly. We're learning something new every day here. Now, both tackles online for Bespin. What? What was that? And Skirt gets the Fire Strike through the Amp Matrix, immediately deletes half of Bespin with one press of the button. Moves in, gets the kill on the Evil Toaster. That's what I call a retake, Misfit.
That is an excellent job there. That play is so hard to coordinate. You need to get your BAP window out at the right time, the pull, and the Fire Strike without the enemy realizing it's coming. And they put it all together beautifully, pick up 3 kills, and give themselves point advantage. Of course, both teams with a lot of Qs here. We're going to see that come into effect. Both teams with the defensible, both teams with very good ults. There's the Blizzard on one side, Supercharger on another. This is going to be a very scrappy fight here as they look to retake the point.
And I was talking about you've got to get the point before that May shows their full potential. Now they've got it. Blizzard in their pocket. Icicle opening kill on attempt. Here comes the Blizzard right over the top of Chickadees. Can they survive? The Earth Shatter, not enough. Skirt did do his darndest to keep him in that fight. In the end, Levi and Bespin maintain control. And I think they are going to flip this point. I'm not even sure if Chickadees can get back to touch.
They probably will be able to. Beef dropping that late will affect them, but he was able to stall long enough for his the rest of his team to spawn, so they will be able to get to the point, most likely, unless this Riptire. Okay, well, now they probably will.
Well, Icicle had other plans for him as the timer dwindles down or the percentage goes all the way up, however you want to look at it. Bespin starting off strong here with a good 1-0 lead.
Yeah, absolutely, and they played very, very well here. I'm really excited to see more of Icicle's hero pool, if he is just on this Junkrat or if he plays anything else, because he is very, very dominant in this game. Huge Riptires, huge damage output, doing a very good job of really getting that out. We see the Eiffel just too late there from Patback, very close. Of course, Patback came back in with the huge map window to give his team the point back. No discredit to him there. I'm really excited to see what these two teams bring forth moving forward. I talked about a little bit about Icicle, but both these teams only got to show only fractions of what they could do. Both teams were mostly running double shield. I'm excited to see if they run anything else going forward in the series. We didn't get to see any Ash. We're going to see a bit of Tracer, so I'm excited to know more about what these two teams are made of.
Indeed, as we will head to Escort for our second map type, and it will be Chickadees map pick. So they could choose between Rialto, Junkertown, or Route 66. We'll see what map they think fits their map pool best. They show us Junkertown as their favorite map on their team sheets, but there's only so much we could take from that. Well, it does look indeed like we're headed to Australia here, Misfit.
Yeah, and I do think this favors them. Attempt to put down on his team sheet that Widowmaker is his favorite character. And I got to admit, this is one of the best Widowmaker maps in the game, especially on defense. There are multiple angles you can play. The sightlines are so long, and there's not very much that can deal with a good Widowmaker on this point. As we've seen on the Overwatch, we've had players like Decay, KSP have huge performances on that map in particular. And I'm really excited to see Widowmaker play. Junkertown is one of my favorite maps to watch. Not as much to play since I can't play any snipers, and it gets very, very annoying to get headshot all the time. But seeing the Widowmaker duels alongside the pairings of maybe an Ashe or a Hanzo, it can be really intense. Fights can switch ways so quickly just on the account of 3 or 4 shots.
Especially on that first point. I mean, really the only way to battle back against a Widowmaker is to pull one out of your own. So, I mean, you get those duels, and if you start winning the alpha on the Widow, it can snowball so bad from there. You could absolutely take control of the map.
Yeah, talking about Widow 1v1s, that I would say that is like a 90% mental game. You need to have the confidence to take out the enemy Widow. But if you are just getting domed left and right, it can become so hard to still be able to peek that corner and take that duel. And that's where teams really get into trouble, is when their Widow is just getting dominated on a map like this where double sniper is so good, it becomes a snowball really, really fast, just like you said.
Yeah, not even double shield could save you from a good Widow here.
Just too many angles you can play. Like, she can be up top, she can be off to the left, like she can be anywhere. And it's so hard as a tank, especially as a Sigma, to try to get your shield on her all the time, right? Because you still need to use it to win the front line. And if you have to get it on flankers while your Orisa shield's getting destroyed, and then your front line's taking so much damage, and then your Widowmaker's dying, and it's just, it is just a bad situation.
Yeah, the moment that your Widowmaker goes down, I mean, it seems like everybody else is just going to fall right behind it. We'll see if we get to see the Widow duel that I'm so crossing my fingers and hope that we get to see. Yeah,
absolutely. We get to see some things from the comps right now. Not quite anything, as the lobby is still getting started here. I am curious to know if we'll see any niche strats. I highly doubt we'll see Pirate Ship this high up in GGNA, but it is possible.
That's absolutely possible.
Because it's weird enough. I mean, we saw it like run as a legitimate strat in Overwatch League Season 1. Of course, we are now a far cry away from the characters that were available during that meta. So, it could be something different. I still think that we'll see the double sniper here. I think it is the best comp that can run here. I do think double shield will be played, though. I don't really see any other comp getting the value it needs to. Maybe dive, but it's unlikely.
It's unlikely. I mean, we did get the recent buff to Genji. of course, and
Oh,
giving him a little
I
bit more
love it.
damage.
So much.
Did I strike a nerve there, Misfit? I can kind of feel you shudder over there.
Ooh. I'm sorry, Doofus is a fun character to play, and he's enjoyable, but nothing beats getting nanoed as Genji and then just killing 5 people. Like Doofus just doesn't give that to me, and I'm a flex DPS, and now I get to play more Genji, and I'm very happy. I'm sorry.
No, it's
It's
awesome. He's got
good.
reduced spread on that alt fire. He's got extra damage per shuriken, an extra 25, actually 33% to his deflect time. I
Yeah.
mean, Genji's in a pretty cool spot. It might enable some dive here.
Yeah, my personal favorite thing about it is the damage buff, because we think of like, oh, is his damage becoming more consistent? That can't be that big of a thing. But not only does it allow him to
Yeah.
secure kills better, but that also, the more damage you do, the more ult charge you get. His ult charge rate was not changed whatsoever, right?
Right.
We think about other characters that have received changeless like this with spread reduction. The one that comes to mind is Sombra. When Sombra
Yeah.
first got her changes with her spread reduction, she just damages much more consistently and allows her to build that really good EMP ultimate. And the same goes for Genji. The more damage he can do, the more damage and the more consistent his damage is, the more consistent he'll be able to get those Dragon Blades online. And of course, that is a near fight winner for most teams.
Oh, absolutely. I hope we get to see some Genji here today. And also with the damage buff, you've once again broken those thresholds. Those thresholds are oh so important. The
Yes.
threshold that made a 1 point damage difference on Soldier turn him from a completely useless hero to where he's actually got some viability. But
Well,
Genji, that
that might be a little
extra,
bit of a stretch.
yeah, that's, well, I'm just saying as far as at least on paper. We'll go with on paper. um, but it was just a good illustration of how much even just 1 point of damage can really break a
Yes.
threshold.
Yeah,
And that's the same thing we saw on Genji.
Yeah, I really like the discussion about thresholds. I really agree with that. The big threshold that got changed with the 30 damage per shuriken is now the right click melee is in fact a one-shot combo on squishies, which I don't think will be too impactful. But it can still be like you dash through someone, you turn around and right click melee them, and even though they've already been healed, you can still have the potential to kill them with that really quick one shot, right? I don't think
Right.
that the dash, like there was a really niche combo you could do if you were like 20 to 21 meters away from someone, where you could dash at them and hold S and then right click animation cancel to kill them immediately. But it was so impractical and hard to pull off. I think the right click melee is much more consistent in terms of damage and in terms of getting someone killed. The other threshold that got broken is you no longer need 3 headshots on Genji. If you land 2
Correct.
headshots and a body shot, the dash will finish off a target. Maybe not too applicable, but it's still like, it's good to have. It's good to just like
Right.
be able to have that peace of mind that exists and that is something you can do.
Well, and it's not something that you're gonna, I don't think, look for. You're not gonna try.
Yeah,
I'm gonna strategically get 2 of these and 1 of these with a like. It doesn't really work out that way, but you come across it in your games, and it opens up more windows, and just every little bit, like you're building up more ult charge. You're securing another kill here and there, and that one kill could be the primary healer for your opponent and be the difference maker.
yeah. One of my good friends who is a Lucio OTP has really not been liking the Genji changes, because now he can't just get away from a Genji by wall riding, because the Genji actually has the consistent enough damage and spread to actually deal with a Lucio who
Yeah.
dives in. He has not been enjoying having to play with the team. He's very much a Reddit Lucio player. I feel for him. It gets very hard, but I don't feel for him that much, because it means I get to play more.
Well, and it's like, come on, play with your team. Play with your team. I don't feel so sad for you that you can't just yeet anymore.
Yeah. Especially in this battle, like, how are you going to Reddit Lucio into a brig, dude? Like,
Right?
how is that going to go? Like, just use your brain. What do you think is going to happen here? You're not Frogger. You're not Red Shell. That's not going to go very well for you, man.
Oh, and a lot of ashes out there as well. So I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
just so much sustained damage. You just get a dynamite onto a Lucio, and they're in a world of hurt.
absolutely. Yeah, that I do like Lucio. I do like Lucio a lot more than Brig. I have mixed feelings about Brig, because as a DPS player, she makes my life so much better. I just get that armor pack. I get that
Yeah.
extra health. I get to be Like that's a huge piece of mind, especially when I'm playing Echo. Just having the extra health and really having to making the enemy hit scan have to hit more shots. That's such a powerful tool, and it becomes much harder to deal with those armored targets. I saw a really good tweet by Dogman actually, who said that the problem with Brig right now is that you look at a squishy that's armored and you just think like, oh, that's not killable. And I think that's a really good thing. I really think they should tone down Brig. I like the niche she has, but I think she's a little bit too strong. And I would like to see characters like Zed and Lucio be more prominent than Brig in the meta.
What would you do? I mean, if you take down Armor Pack any less, I feel like it wouldn't be viable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the extra health is always going to be an advantage. I think they should just rework her and get armor out of the game. I don't think it's okay that you can, like, effectively almost double a character's health with the armor, because of course the armor does, I believe, is it 1.5 damage resistance or is it 2?
No, I think they dialed that back down.
Okay.
And it does depend on, you know, the tick rate of the hero. So
yes, it does.
It only prevents to a maximum amount of damage. So it truly affects characters like Reaper and Tracer, who have a lot. What is this?
Forget everything we were talking about. I want to talk about this for a little bit. That was
let's.
We do see the double sniper from both teams like we expected, and this is we do see the Widows on both sides, so I'm really excited to see the Levi versus Temp duel as we move forward in this map.
I've never seen that setup that Bespin was showing us right out of the gate, though. Looking for those entry picks. That was interesting. But it's chaotic with the newly buffed Hanzo, who is going to find first blood, taking Frogman out of the action. Large chunk of healing missing now for the Chickadees on the defense.
Yeah, you still have this double sniper, though, so that healing can mean almost nothing if you win the fight quickly with those headshots we talked about. Of course, Widow and Ashe, both very high damage characters, if they can hit their crits. So it may not even come to pass whether that could be a deciding factor in this fight.
It's a very valid point. Courage getting very aggressive, and Levi able to take down Orisa for Bespin here. Oh, but Tempt wins the duel, takes Levi out of the mix, taking that dome right off. Attempt over by Coast, continuing to lay the fire down, but getting a small reset from the attackers here.
Yeah, I understand that. You're down your Orisa, and that means you can't really win the front line, even if you can win the DPS duels. So that's a very good reset from them, not trying to push an advantage they don't have and not feed ult charge to the enemy.
Chaotic already 88% towards Dragons. Pat back. Amplification Matrix ready to go. Forced to use that Immortality Field early. We'll see if that comes around to bite him. Evil Toaster able to get the kill on Attempt, but here comes the Dragons, and Evil Toaster is low. Gets finished off. Skirt moving in to get that final blow. Skirt's going to fall himself, but Chaotic falls up with a nice set of Storm Arrows to help move this cart towards point A.
Yeah, and now with these two characters, the Widowmaker and the Hanzo, they are able to get to this high ground really fast here. I do think that Hanzo has the advantage of mobility over the Ashe pick, because instead of having a 10-second cooldown, he can just walk up walls whenever he wants. And it allows him to get to those high ground positions much more effectively and kind of reposition a lot cleaner than the Ashe can. Of course, Ashe brings the, like, I would say the better ultimates in this meta at least, and the higher damage output with the Dynamite. So a slight difference in comp can be like a world of difference in how these two teams have to play.
You bet. And Versailles coming out first from Levi to start things off. Both tank ults. In fact, all other 5 ults online for Bespin to help defend point B. And Matrix out from the attackers as Chickadees just conservatively pushing this card around. Here comes the Gravitic Flux, though. Oh, and just as the Immortality Field runs out, but Transcendence available. Beef, Johnny on the spot with his ultimate to keep Chickadees in this fight. Skirt's going down really low, take out the bomb that came through from the other side. Courage eventually finding that final blow, but he gets taken out himself as Chaotic finds the headshot, landing those arrows true. Icicle strikes back, taking payback out of the Endeavor. But now the attackers have control of this high ground, and the supercharger not enough to keep the defenders in this thing. Tempt! Oh my goodness!
I mean, this is the Widowmaker plays we like to see. He got 5 kills. Like, I like that. Shipsa doesn't. He's not a big fan of the whole one-shot kill tactic, but it's fun to watch. It's pure skill. You gotta hit your shots, and I really enjoy seeing a Widowmaker with the potential to do that. That big threat you have with that one-shot potential is so fun to watch when they can make it work.
Levi doing work in their own right. Infosight's now out for both teams. Everybody knows where everybody is. Bespin is holding up on top of the spinner. Chickadees just conservatively sticking with this cart, slow rolling it through. Dragons coming out to dislodge Bespin off of their high ground. Supercharger, perhaps a little early from Chickadees as they try to round the corner. Here comes the Ant Matrix from the other side, as Bespin thinks that they have a route to a counter punch back here, taking out the Supercharger and Jazz along with it. Levi loses the Widowmaker duel, though, and this might open things up. He can do it! Finding a pair of kills, takes out both DPS, and that's going to send the attackers packing back to spawn.
Yeah, can he do it? He certainly can, as he's able to help his team win his fight there. We have seen something I've noticed about the Widowmaker duel so far is Levi seems to get picks and then Temp will fall right after. And I can't see his POV right now, but I would have to assume that what's happening is Temp is waiting for that opportunity where he knows Levi will be distracted by something else to take the duel and secure his victory over Levi. Oh, that's not what you want to see.
Woo! A flurry of storm arrows deletes Skirt immediately. Didn't even have chance for the Baptiste to throw an immortality field out before he went down.
Yeah, absolutely. He just falls right away. Something I didn't actually notice is Icicle has switched onto the Hanzo. I did not pick up on that. Does have his ultimate here, and that's really impactful. Of course, the pull Dragons, very good ultimate combo. We will see a full comp switch to dive, actually. From the Packers. This Ana Brig, I really like this. It's a lot of healing, and you can armor these DPS, this Genji, this Tracer, and it can allow them a lot of space to get a lot of work done.
Icicle dropping out those Dragons. The Gravitic Flux coming in to defend against the dive as it comes up onto the high ground to try to dislodge Bespin, but they are not dissuaded in the slightest. They're going to send Skirt packing. Courage finding the kill onto Chaotic. Tip does get the kill onto Levi, but I don't think the Chickadees have the reinforcements to continue this assault.
Yeah, the one issue with the dive composition here is there's no real area you can stage a dive that doesn't also favor the spam comps angles. Like, they're playing this high ground, which I personally really like. It's the perfect spot for them. They can poke you down when you're coming from your spawn, and if you try to take the high ground to their left, the defender's left, they can still poke you down before you can engage. So the dive comp kind of struggles here to get the space it needs to get an effective dive off.
And I'm concerned for Chickadees here. They might get this Nano Blade online, but it's going to take more than one fight win to push this thing all the way home. Even if they get it around this next corner, I'm not sure that they're going to have the ult in their bank to get it all the way home, especially if Levi and Courage start off the round like that. The defense just looking indomitable here on point 3.
Yeah, and I am sure right now that Chickadees is regretting this comp switch. They will have the Nano Blade coming online here, but Skirt just cannot get a clean engage off. There's just so much damage coming into him. He takes a headshot from one of these snipers. He takes 2 shots from the Sigma. The Zen discords him, and he is just dead before his team really gets a good fight off.
It's been $140 since the comp switch, and Jazz and Skirt only halfway to their ultimates. That is way too slow for what they need to get accomplished here in point C. Once again, diving up to that high ground. This time there's an Ant Matrix waiting for him. Both teams just kind of hiding on opposite side of the spinner as the Dragon Blade comes out. That's going to find one, but 2 kills have already come through from the defense, and the Transcendence is there. He can do it, has managed to keep his team alive. Skirt cannot survive. Jazz gets demeched, and that's the end of that push. I think they've got one more left in them.
Yeah, and now they're in a really bad spot here. They've used their fight-winning ultimate, the ultimate they needed to use to win it, but they didn't have anything to bait out the Transcendence, so they had to rely on Chaotic to be able to get the combo off where you can one-shot through Transcendence, and he wasn't able to do it. He was only able to kill one person with it, and now they are going into a Supercharger and a Gravitic Flux on the enemy team. They're in a really bad spot here.
Just the pulse bomb to use to try to take it. The Gravitic Flux coming out early, and Courage, man, just getting these things so fast, doing so much work on this Sigma. Skirt already in a world of hurt, and the Primal Rage already popped, so he said there was about 100 health in Primal form in the far back of Bespin spawn. Levi eventually taking him down, while the rest of the team is attempting to get a presence on the cart, but there is none, and Bespin with a great hold here in Junkertown.
Yeah, it looks like all the cards were in Chickadees' favor. They were rolling through the first 2 points with their double sniper comp, and I don't hate the idea that they can switch to the dive composition. I think it does, in some instances, beat the double sniper composition, but the positioning from their opponents were just too good, and they were too ready for the dive composition for it to get value. The cart will have stopped on 3rd point, though, so there is the potential that they could hold this. Levi is going to have to win his Widowmaker duels a lot more, though, if they want to have a chance here. Because, of course, once your Widow dies on defense, you're in a really bad spot. You have nothing to contest the enemy Widow, and it just becomes a snowball from there.
Ready for battle.
Well, now it is Bespin going on the offense, hoping that holds enough for them to take the 2-0 lead. For the defense, Chickadees are bringing out the double shield with the double sniper. No surprises here.
30 seconds.
Yeah, and something I'm a little surprised with, I have seen some niche strategies where they will, in fact, run the Brig over the Zen just to get the armor packs on your DPS. Because if you take a body shot from a Hanzo as a DPS with an armor pack, you basically don't take damage. And that can be really impactful because it puts a lot of pressure on the other sniper to get those headshots. I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure that a headshot doesn't kill through... I'm pretty sure like a fully charged Widow headshot doesn't kill through armor pack, but I could be wrong on that calculation. That might be another reason they run it. But the Zen is the more consistent pick. More damage helps your frontline more, especially with those discords. So still a very good pick overall.
Icicle sticking with the Hanzo here as Bespin goes on the attack, foregoing the Ash. Courage had teased a little bit of Wrecking Ball, which I like on this opening point, but now just decides to stick with the Sigma. Temp finding first blood. Once again, showing that Widowmaker skill, gets the head of Icicle, and that might make the rest of this push a little difficult, though Bespin sticking in the fight, at least for now.
Yeah, they still do have these double snipers, so they can get a lot of value, and as I say that, they're both dead. Man, dude, that's like the third time I've cast a curse tonight. I am sorry to all the teams who all the pushes that I have ruined with my cursed words.
It's certainly not your fault. Chaotic and Tempt are just so darn good on these sniper heroes.
And as you say, that perfect punctuation. Temp wins the duel against Levi again, and this is where the double sniper comp really shines, because when you out-mechanic the enemy double sniper, it is really hard for the front line to really get anything done, because they can't contest the snipers. They got to be focused on the enemy front line.
And in that same vein, now Temp can just focus down the shields and just keep their attention to the big bodies of the tanks, as Bespin trying to push into the open area. We're going to get the Emphasites from the defense. As the Erases just go shield to shield right here on the corner. I like Jazz up on the high ground, throwing that rock in, dislodging him a bit. Immortality Field forced out. Dragon's coming across, and that Immortality Field's going to get destroyed. Dragon's going to take down Courage. Evil Toaster as well. Back to spawn goes Bespin.
One of the biggest problems with running the double sniper composition is you do not have ultimates from your DPS that can win you fights. Like, you do have, like, a great combo there from Chaotic and Jazz with the dragon, or excuse me, Chaotic and Skirt with the pull dragons there, but still, like, Infrasights is not that great of ultimate, and dragons can be inconsistent in this meta where there's Transcendence and the BAP I field. So it can be very hard for your DPS to get anything done. So now that Levi and Icicle have their ultimates, I can't really say it's going to be that impactful because they've just been losing their duels to Tempt and Chaotic.
No, I'll be looking towards the Flux and the Supercharger to see if that can be the difference maker for Bespin here to push in through the back of point A. Just a $1:30 on the clock, and those tank ultimates and the support ult ready for the defense. In fact, we're going to get the amplification matrices directly on top of each other, dueling transcendences. Gravitic Flux coming out from the attacking team as Bespin trying to close this thing out. But this double sniper of Chickadees just way too strong, finding a pair of kills. Now it's up to he can do it, pushing all the way into the back, try to take out Tempt, with the rest of his team dying around him.
Yeah, and the flank Yada comes out there to take out the Widowmaker, which might give them an opening here. But I would assume the Chaotic is able to put out enough damage there to really help them here. They do have the Supercharger online for the offense. So they have some potential here, but the Flux online for the defense, and there's no defensive ult for Beef here. So that could be a very, very game-changing ultimate if Jazz can get it off correctly.
Decides to start things off in the attack team. They know exactly where the Chickadees are sitting. Supercharger used, cleverly placed behind the box, and here comes the whole Dragon. But the Immortality Field there. Great play from Pat back. And keep Jazz in it, who can now respond with his Gravitic Flux. Flux finds 3, but the Immortality Field coming out from Bespin to keep them alive. Frogman and Chaotic get into the mix. Skirt is down. This is the opening Bespin needs. No more Orisa for the defense, and he can do it. Has all the room in the world to work, taking out both supports on the other side. The Dragons will not be enough to stave off this assault.
So they were able to finally get through this first point, but now they're not in the best of spots. Their time bank is kind of not ideal here. And all the momentum, I would say, is still in favor of the defense. They have been winning all the duels. No doubt the DPS on the side of Bespin are a little boomed right now after getting beaten for so long. They are able to cap the point and give themselves a breath of life, but I don't know if it's going to be enough here.
Good news for Bespin. Their support were smart enough and conservative enough to hold their ultimates, and they have both of those available to them. Infosight's out from Chickadees, and Skirt manages to kill Evil Toaster. So I think a quick reset coming through from Bespin.
Yeah, absolutely. I would expect a quick soft reset. Get ready here to deal with these multiple angles that your opposition is playing. They're going to have to find a way to get the Sigma and Hanzo off of this high ground, or at least force them to a different position before they can deal with the core of the enemy roster.
Evil Toaster just eating so much damage before you even get up to the cart. Try to deal with the crossfire, whereas the Widowmaker is on the typical balcony high ground. Like to talk about Jazz and Chaotic sitting in the little window. Flux out from the attacking team. Didn't see the five that he was looking for. Now, Bespin going to try to use the Amp Matrix to see if that can be the tool they need to get this thing home.
Woohoo!
Hey, that works. That'll do the job. Levi and Icicle showing up big in that kill feed.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's got to feel good for them. That's got to give them a confidence boost going to this third point, and now they are able to speed run that and give themselves actually a very healthy time. They only need to push this point like halfway through third. They have a chance here to take this map home when it looked lost for them.
Absolutely. Quite a turnaround on point B. Transcendence, Dragons, Supercharger, ready to go for Bespin. Pushing through here. All they got to get is to the back of the spinner. But they're going to be running into both support ults, both tank ults, and Chickadees. They're certainly not going down without a fight. Holding a very close. I love this tank positioning. Supercharger coming out from the attacking team. Transcendence used in response to the amplification matrix coming out from Chickadees. Chaotic finds the head of Frogman. Good start. Jazz rocked out of his graphitic flux, though. What an accretion coming from Courage to help stave off any more victims to that ult.
Yeah, there's a lot of multi-angle setups going on. This Hans is off to the left, when the rest of the team is off to the right there. The Supercharger comes out and the Transcendence, but they're able to back out here. Well, not quite enough. They do lose a few members. Now we approach this next fight here. Courage does have the Flux coming online. Beef does not have the ultimate to counter it. So an opportunity here, I would say, for the attackers to bring this one home if they can make it work.
They coming up on that Flux. Yeah, we'll see if that's the ticket. They're going to pass around through the small right side, but here comes the Dragons. Chaotic. He finds Levi with that. The defense throwing Infosight's into the mix to top it off. So they know exactly the strange angle that Bespin are looking to take. Jazz shutting it down before it can even start.
Yeah, and now it looks a little bit grim here. If you can push this, if you can win this fight, you probably win the map. But if you lose here, like, you won't have time for a full reset. It's going to come down to who can get the picks they need to with this Feast or Famine double sniper composition.
Yep. There's no ults really online for either team. Where are you going, Bespin? What are you trying to do here? Looks like they're trying to get a little clever. Yeah, flank around to that offside. Throw out an early pull, see if they can get something done on Skirt. And they do indeed find the kill on the Skirt. That's a great start. Get the Orisa out of the way, who is sitting open. I think it was a smart play.
There's no Amp Matrix now.
No Amp Matrix, no more Immortality Field. He was holding that in his pocket. And suddenly, Bespin slow walking this thing through. Jazz kind of up there on his own, forced to throw the Gravitic Flux down, and as that's where the Titan trying to hold this thing, as the overtime wick starts to burn. This is actually final fight territory. Levi finds two picks, but Chaotic ransels right back with two picks of his own. And Matrix out from the defense, and Dragons come over the point. Levi! Oh, the Widowmaker looking to be the difference here. And Bespin pushes it in. I don't believe it. What a map, taking Junkertown 3-2.
I mean, Levi was, we talked about the feast or famine nature of this composition here, and Levi looked more on the famine side for the most map, but bringing it back here and really carries his team to the final point. You're able to take out the Zen. This is a great play from the Widowmaker. This is what you need if you want to win this point here. You get to, what he needs to get done in a short period of time, and that's why I like Widowmaker. Is because that fight could have gone either way, and he just
The outstanding head clicking coming through from Levi. Woo,
I like it.
Oh, that was filthy. That was filthy. Got to love it. Well, Bespin up 2-0. We're going to take a quick break here for the half. We're going to come back with our hybrid map. We'll see if Bespin can close this out or if Chickadees can start the reverse sweep when we return in just a few moments. welcome back to Season 5 of the Get Good Championship. My name is Bullskunk alongside Misfit. We're here at halftime in the Expert Division, where Chickadees, well, they're down 0-2 to Bespin Guard and have chosen Kings Row as the map to try to start their comeback.
Yeah, and I've been really liking what I'm seeing out of this match. The scoreline doesn't really do it justice. I do think these two teams are pretty closely contested. Chickadees had some really nice moments in that last map, especially out of players like Tempt and Chaotic. And I really want to see what they pull out here on their map pick now, on to Kings Row, which can be a very, very interesting map. We've seen some brawl on it earlier in the night, but I expect to see Double Shield, especially this high up. Double Shield is very, very good here in the highest tiers of play, where every ability is used to the fullest extent. And I'm excited. I think there can be a lot of room for some really good play, some outplay potential here. The big difference to me is going to be our team is going to opt for the Tracer here or the Echo.
Well, and even if Tempt and Chaotic, either of them choose to stick with go with the Ashe or a Hanzo, a double shield composition defensively up on that high ground can be so difficult to deal with a good long range sniper or pseudo sniper.
Yeah, that can work. There's a lot of good positions you can set up here on Kings Row because, again, we talk about how good Double Shield is, and one of the biggest strengths that it has is that both tanks can kind of survive on their own. You can get the Sigma playing off angles, especially with a DPS, such as players like a Hanzo or a Torb or an Ashe can play these off angles with the Sigma, while the Orisa and another DPS is poking in damage from a side. And it can be all this damage from different angles coming together in one beautiful like suffocation of resources for the enemy. And it's one of the things that makes Double Shield really frustrating to push into, because when they're together, it's a lot of damage, but when they're apart, it's even harder to deal with because you don't know who to push onto.
Yeah, if the crossfire and coordination are there, it can be near impossible to overtake. And in other situations where, you might, take the 6v3 and rush down the Sigma and the Hanzo, can be very difficult to do here with a lot of high ground for them to work with.
Exactly, and I do think that we will see a lot of potential here. I do like that we're seeing Ice go back onto this Junkrat that he was so clean on in the first map, and it's going to help him deal with Tempt's Tracer, which I would expect to be very good. We didn't see too much of it in the first map because we only played it on one map, but he's been so good on the Widow. He's clearly a very mechanically skillful player, and that is exactly what you want in a Tracer player, so I would love to see more from him.
Bespin Guard going with the Brawl tanks, bringing the Ryan Zarya to help keep that Junkrat in the game, while we're getting double shield out of Chickadees going onto the attack. Tempt taken to the high ground immediately, circling all the way around on that Tracer. You can see armor pack fly up there to him to try to help with that endeavor. And now Tempt dropping into the back line, see if they can help out. And Chaotic taking down Levi, but Chaotic himself goes down. No more Ashe for either team. Courage finishes off Beef as well. Courage on the Zarya, just taking down everybody. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Zarya can be really hard to play into this double shield, but once you get through those shields, when your high charge is Zarya, it is so hard for them to take care of you. And Courage really putting out a clinic with some good Zarya play there, able to take it out. I do believe Levi is still coming back from spawn, though, so there is a small window of opportunity here. Doesn't look like they will be pushing their advantage, and Levi is back now. So a full reset for both sides here. No super impactful ults on either side yet, but we're getting close to some, and it's going to come down to those ults here.
That's Zarya. I think Courage is still playing the off angle. Indeed, Courage is on the other side of the statue, putting down this crazy crossfire with a charged up Zarya, forcing out an early immortality field. Now here comes the Nano and a massive shot.
Courage gets focused, he can speed it back to the team. But if the Ryan gets focused, he can still speed Courage back to deal with them. So I really do like how they're playing this crossfire. It's not something we typically see here. Very creative from them, and it seems to be working really well for them so far.
And it seems to be kind of the same fundamentals of what we were talking about prior to this round starting with the split defense, but using the Zarya instead. And now the Riptire coming out from a hotel, gonna wisely wait out the immortality field. Here comes the Graviton Surge, right in the mix. Graviton Surge finds 5, no more immortality to keep him alive. And now the Shatter to follow things up. That's going to be the killing blow they were looking for. Icicle throwing in the mine to help finish things off.
Oh, Evil Toaster goes down late, though, so even with the huge play there off the back of Courage's grab, they might actually get a disadvantage moving forward in this fight, as we see a lot of check marks coming online for the attackers. You got the Pulse Bomb, the Supercharger, the Flux, the Window, and the Rally. And Attacker's in a great spot here to take this point now.
Evil Toaster does make it back onto the battlefield, so no power play for Chickadees as they try to push in. So they do have that ult advantage using the amplification matrix early. Big ante into the back, onto the brand. Courage almost able to burn him down. That would have been a big pick. But Rally Pop able to keep the team alive. Chaotic, not so lucky. And now the attack just looking very disjointed. Yet another Nano Boost and Earth Shatter coming out of Evil Toaster. Good lord, this defense just looking absolutely stellar.
Yeah, they subbed out Jake Overwatch on the Smurf for Super Overwatch on the Rhine. This is outstanding. I love seeing this. I love good Rhine play. It's so fun to watch. It's so freaking alpha. I love it.
And they're lapping and ults. I mean, both Icicle throwing his second tire out here. Second Nano Boost coming out of He Can Do It. Already 31% towards another one as we get swaps from the attackers. Chaotic going over to right of his own. Jazz throwing Gravitic Flux down, but the sound barrier there from Frogman. Icicle Evil Toaster cannot survive despite the extra shielding, and Chickadees might have just barely been able to break this thing open, and not a moment too soon.
Yeah, Chickadees there with a much more aggressive push than they have been doing in their previous pushes. They try to push their advantage much more and cut off that healing to the Rhine, and they're able to do it and allow enough space for their DPS to get the kills they need. Really, really good job by the tanks there, doing their job, making their space, and now they have the advantage moving into this next fight, or this next point, I should say.
And continuing to press that advantage as they burn down Evil Toaster and Courage with a quickness. No tanks left for the defense as they're trying to somehow find a place to plant their feet here on point B.
Yeah, double shield can hold space better than almost any comp in the game, in my opinion. But we have to remember, Brawl is the take space comp. They want to run you down here, and they do have the Graviton, the Nano, the Bob to make that happen here.
Not a whole lot on the ult department for Chickadees to defend against those three ultimates. Amplification Matrix, they're one online, coming out immediately, but now a Bob thrown right into the back of it to devalue that Amp Matrix. Chickadees have to deal with Bob before they can even fire through that, and that gives time for Evil Toaster to move in with the Nano Boost, swing that hammer like there's no tomorrow, and talk about taking space. That is exactly what Bespin Guard has done.
Evil Toaster is just alphaing on this team right now. That's his fourth shatter. I don't think he's missed a shatter yet. I don't think he has. And he's playing against double shield. Like, it is hard to get those shatters off against two shields.
But not to mention 4 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, and every time he has the Nano Boost, he can do it, putting in so much work on this Nano Boost is seemingly on cooldown.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving the synergy between the Flex Support and the main tank. That is really something you need in this Brawl comp to make it work, and it is so much fun to watch these two playmakers go at it.
And now with Bespin Guard on match point, less than 1 minute for Chickadees to make something happen here. See if they can take a map point off of this team. You're going to use Gravitic Flux to open things up. Bubble there to keep Evil Toaster alive. We're going to get the tire coming in from the defense. Courage's Graviton Surge right there with it as well. And that is going to find a lot of kills, but Chickadees not giving up. Tip throwing the Pulse Bomb into the mix. Courage somehow killed himself on a right click. And, well, I mean, after the dust settling, Chickadees emerging victorious.
Yeah, but Evil Toaster has another shatter, and given how he's been using them so far, I would be very scared if I'm Chickadees right now. Skirt and Jazz need to pull together and be able to block the shatter, or else they're going to give up this with only a few seconds left.
Yeah, and plenty of time for Bespin Guard to contest at the back of point B. Supercharger used early, but Courage right on top of it, able to take that ultimate out of the mix with the quickness. Evil Toaster pushing up to confront the double shield composition here. Right into the mix, and those two tanks, well, they are not long for this world. Neither is that overtime Wick, and that's as far as Chickadees will get here at King's Row.
Yeah, the tanks commit all the resources into blocking that shatter, and they do manage to do it, but unfortunately those resources do not get used to stop things like Icicle's Mines or the anti-nades from He Can Do It, and they're able to put it together there and stop that push. Excellent job on this Brawl composition, and I'm loving seeing what they're able to put together here.
A fantastic defense from Bespin Guard. Now hoping that will be enough to close this series out in a clean and tidy 3-0 as they take to the offense.
Yeah, and I want to see if they stay on this. They've been doing really well on it, but you have to assume that right now, whoever the shot caller, the main morale booster on the side of Chickadees is bringing everyone together right now. Like, look, this is what we're doing wrong. Here's how we fix it. They know better than anyone here what they need to do better here. And we're going to see an echo on defense here, which I actually like because Icicle has been sticking to this Junkrat. The Icicle just becomes a character that can't contest Chaotix at all. You'll be able to keep the Harmony Orb on him, and he can just do whatever he wants there. He has to be aware of Levi, but given how good Tempt is, I would assume that Tempt is just going to try to take the duel with Levi and leave some space for Chaotic to just do his thing.
That's definitely the win condition as far as my eye test goes. Tempt has to control Levi, and then Chaotic will have all the room in the world to work. But look at these tanks. Look at this tank line coming out from...
It's gotta be fake, right?
The defense, from the offense, I mean. Yeah, Bespin guard coming out with courage on the Wrecking Ball.
They're on Lucio's side. What?
They're sticking with this.
What's happening?
Not quite sure. Evil Toaster taking a Discord orb, which means he's going to be the primary focus of the fire coming down. Chaotic just hiding in the back, seeing if he can do something with it. Evil Toaster getting way aggressive. Just flanks around through Hotel and is now over by the phone booth. Tries to do a backwards charge, but, well, that's not going to cut it. We're going to have to take another stab at it there, Bespin guard.
Yeah, Frogman is able to find Temp, so that will be a respawn they have to wait on. I want to see if they switch this up at all. Will Frogman go onto the map now? Like, why are they running this? This is so weird, and it doesn't seem to be really working. It seemed like a very sloppy first engagement from them. Maybe they'll put it together here.
I don't. This may be some kind of set strategy that they have, worked out in scrims. I'm not quite seeing the objective of this composition just yet. Though Levi, yeah, that does open up with a great pick there. And there's no presence on the point for the defense. Chickadees, what are you doing? You're just giving up free progress. I think they're up on the high ground trying to deal with Beef, or trying to deal with Levi, I mean. And Chaotic and Levi do swap out kills. This is very strange here, Misfit. I'm not even... I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this. Icicle with 2 big kills there to help close it out. There's no point presence from Chickadees.
So like I'm the color caster. It's my job to break down a fight. I have no idea what's happening though. I don't know why they're running this. I don't know why it's working. I didn't see.
Yeah, furthermore, why it's working.
Yeah, why are they all the way up there on the high ground? They lost their Orisa early. I get that, but like what's going on right now? I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, this is. Hey, we've been seeing some atypical Overwatch all night. This is no exception. As both teams just giving up so much space. Evil Toaster and Bespin guard look like they were trying to control the top of that center house. Now, Chickadees getting together, throwing down an amplification matrix. As soon as they can halt the progress at this point, people get used onto the Reinhardt. It's a bit Ryan duel in the middle of point B. Shatter's blocked with the Icicle, but Icicle throws his tire into the mix. That's going to try to open things up. Courage is able to take down the Orisa. And Evil Toaster wins the duel against Jazz. So it looks like a bunch of just scattered little 1v1s and 2v2s across the map.
I actually think that's the point. What they're trying to do is they're trying to split. Like, this is a spam comp. They want to focus the same thing, but they're not able to because there's so many different things happening. There's a Lucio in their backline. There's a ball, like, messing them up. There's the Junkrat with so much damage. The Ash is getting fixed. This is working because it's so weird.
Bespin is absolutely forcing these small little engagements. Oh, Courage with some brilliant mines. Oh my goodness. Courage getting 4 kills with the mines. What a way to close out this incredible matchup. Bespin guard with the clean 3-0 sweep after that bizarre and incredibly functional attack on King's Row.
Yeah, that was one of the most interesting King's Row attacks I've ever seen. I gotta admit that Bespin guard absolutely stomped on that map. It was a close series until this map.
Until King's Row.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, no offense to Chickadees. I thought they played so well throughout the series. I thought they had some really, really good moments, especially between like Tempt, Chaotix. Like, everyone had some really, really good plays here. But Bespin guard pulls out the extremely powerful brawl composition that was just clinical, so well executed. And then they go with that really weird niche strategy that works really well for them. I'm surprised. Like, Chickadees, if you're Chickadees right now, you got to be down on yourself. You got to be demoralized after getting beat by such a weird composition, especially with Zen Lucio. But you played well tonight if you're Chickadees. There's just small things you need to iron out, and then I think you're good to go.
No, I think you're Chickadees. You still walk around. You still walk away with your chins held high. No reason to be down on yourself on that one. I mean, that was something clearly rehearsed from Bespin guard, and I mean the DPS duo from Chickadees. Outstanding performance here tonight, despite the fact that they lost 3-0. But Bespin guard were firing on all cylinders, working as a hive mind, and put up a brilliant performance here tonight.
Yeah, and if I gotta have a player of the match for this team, I gotta give it to he can do it. He was
Agreed.
absolutely popping off.
Agreed.
Every character played the Zen, the Ana. He was going crazy, getting a lot of picks for his team, supporting his Ryan really well, and that is exactly what you need on your flex support. In my opinion, I think flex support is one of the biggest carry roles in the game. There's a lot of playmaking potential, especially not when you're on Moira, but like Ana and Zen, right?
But Ana and Zen,
play BAP, like,
yeah.
a lot of ability to make the plays, to support your team with a lot of utility. And I love watching good flex supports have their day in the spotlight.
Yes, he living up to his name. He can do it, taking your MVP of our expert division match here tonight. Well, he did it in spades. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. Well, that's going to conclude our broadcast here from the Get Good Championship in the NA region. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. Man, Misfit, it's been a pleasure casting with you. These have been some amazing matches. You got any closing thoughts here?
No, I'm just excited that I got to watch these matches in person because I loved every minute of them. The first match, the intermediate division, very close, a lot of variation, a lot of really highs and lows moments. Really good match there. And this match was very, very exciting to watch, very interesting to watch. I loved what I saw from both these teams, for all four teams that we got to cast tonight. And I'm really excited to see how they progress in the rest of the season.
Big shout out and tip of the hat to Rhino, your producer here tonight. We had Uni and Knight of Knee operating your cameras, popping your tart behind the scenes, and to our match hosts as well. Thank you, everybody, for coming together for this awesome production. It has been an absolute blast. My name's Bull Skunk, been alongside Misfit here, bringing you all the action, and thank you at home for hanging out with us. Couldn't do it without each and every one of you. It's with that, we will bid you adieu. Y'all remember to look out for each other in game and out, and we'll see you next time.